Hi guys, welcome to Mentors for IAS. I'm Dr. Arjun Bopanna. So in these videos, we are discussing very briefly about theorists that we need to know in anthropology. In the previous classes, we have discussed about classical evolutionists, diffusion, and Franz Boas. In today's video, we'll discuss about functionalism. So basically, functionalism emerged as a criticism of classical evolutionists as well as diffusionism, because both of them focused on historical study, and they did not focus on the present day societies or culture. They were worried about the past, okay, whether culture changed because of evolution or diffusion. They could not really explain the present and contemporary phenomena. So in that context, functionalism emerged, who tried to study not the past but the present culture, and it studied it from the functional point of view. Matlab, what function does the culture, what function or what role does the culture has in human life, and how by studying that we will be able to understand culture and society better. So in case of functionalism, right, we have two important anthropologists that we have to remember. Malinowski, whose theory is called as cultural functionalism, because he tells about how humans have needs and how culture invented in order to fulfill those needs. Whereas Radcliffe Brown, the other anthropologist that you have to remember from functional point of view, is structural functionalism, his theory of structural functionalism, where he says that society has needs, okay, and the societal elements, parts of the society, fulfills these needs. Okay, so that's why it's called as structural functionalism. I'll repeat again. Society has parts, society has needs. How the parts of the society fulfills these needs. So that's why it's called as structural functionalism. They talked about the present day, studied about examining the specific phenomena rather than focusing on the past. So they advocated for synchronic rather than diachronic study. Rather than studying it comparatively in the past, study the present day society. They also advocated for postponing the search. Instead, they said study the role or the function of the present day society. So functionalism, they want to understand and study how human society function. The unit of the study is the system. See, whether it is cultural study or whether it is structural study or study of society, they talk about why it's called as, I mean, they try to study it in parts and how these parts are interrelated or interacting with each other. So according to them, whether it is a society or whether it is a culture, they are system. That means they can be broken down into parts, and how these parts are interacting, independent and integrated. It's like a body. Human body has parts, and how these parts are interacting with each other. When they interact with each other, they are fulfilling a particular need. They are serving a purpose. So that is how even a society or a culture studied should be studied in parts in relationship with each other, and how each part is performing its function or role in order to fulfill the needs. So when you talk about individual needs, it is we are talking about Malinowski. Okay, when we talk about the society's need, we are talking about Radcliffe Brown. So that's why Malinowski's is called as psychological functionalism, because it is talking about how culture is there to fulfill human needs. Okay, so this is how they talk about. They talk about the present day society, so therefore fieldwork becomes very essential. So two schools, one is Malinowski's culture functionalism. So Malinowski's culture functionalism, where he says that he comes up with basic premise is individuals have needs. Needs are fulfilled by culture, and the culture, individual cultural elements, institutions, etc., fulfill specific needs. When all these individuals come together, they fulfill all the needs of humans. That's what is this theory. Very simple. Okay, so first you need to study about the human needs. So he comes up with this theory called as theory of needs. So humans have needs. He classifies these needs into three types: primary needs, secondary needs, and tertiary needs. The primary needs are basic needs. Like any organism, humans also have these needs. These are called as basic needs. And humans have invented culture in order to fulfill these needs. Okay, So that is what is primary needs. Now, when man invented culture to fulfill his primary needs, culture itself created its own need. See, for example, cooking, hunger is a primary need. Okay. To fulfill that hunger, we have cooking. Okay. Cooking is cultural. Now this cooking is culture which has to be taught, learned generation after generation, which has now created a need that cooking has to be taught by parents to children, let's say. So how can they be taught? Communication. So communication is culture fulfilling the need that was created by the primary, need institution, that is cooking here. Okay. So hunger is fulfilled by cooking in case of humans. Now, cooking is culture. It itself has its need. What is the need? It has to be learned. It has to be taught. So you need communication. So this need to be communicated is the secondary need or derived needs. Derived needs, like for example, transmission of culture. So what is the response? Enculturation. So therefore, these needs are called as derived needs or secondary needs. That is, these needs emerge because of culture. And then finally, because humans have to live together as a members of society, we need them to be or stuck together. That is your tertiary needs or integrative need, also called as synthetic need. So this is how your needs can be classified, he says. And to fulfill these needs, we have culture. That's what Malinowski says. The needs are fulfilled by culture. So the needs can be analyzed. How it is fulfilled can be understood in this way. Okay, we need to understand that there are these institutions, okay, which are there as part of our culture, which fulfills these needs. Now, these institutions fulfill specific needs. When all these institutions are put together, they fulfill all the needs of humans. Okay, so these institutions function, for which he gives this framework. So an institution can be broken down into charter, personal, norms, material apparatus, activities, and function. So every institution has a charter. That means the purpose for which this institution exists. It is made up of personnel who behaves according to norm, create material apparatus. The material apparatus, when put into action, they perform certain activities. When they perform these activities, they fulfill the needs. That is the function of that particular institution. So institution fulfills specific need. When all the institutions are put together, they constitute the culture of the entire society. It fulfills all the needs. That's why institutional studies, cultural studies, is about study of institution and its function, but in an integrated, interdependent manner, because institutions don't function in isolation. They function in an integrated manner. So Malinowski says that we can't study culture or society in parts. It has to be studied as a whole. So that is what cultural functionalism of Malinowski talks about. Then there are a list of criticism if you look at this board. Okay, why if need is same everywhere, then why culture is different in different society? The reason is that every culture has its own history, it has its own evolution. So if you reject that, you can't truly understand the true nature of culture. And they give too much importance to function, and it becomes a circular argument. And when that happens, we cannot explain change. See, for example, if need is there, culture is fulfilling those needs. Need is there, culture is fulfilling those needs. So it's a circular arrangement. How do you say change occurs? People's need won't change. Then if in that circular argument, then we cannot explain social change. So one of the major criticism of cultural functionalism or functionalism is that it's a static model. It cannot explain how culture change occurs. Okay, so like this, these are some of the facts. It includes negative aspects of cultural elements. Not every time cultural elements fulfill need. Sometimes it goes against the survival of culture. For example, nuclear weapons. So they go against the element of, culture itself. So like this, these are some of the criticism of functionalism. In contrast to cultural functionalism, you have Radcliffe Brown's structural functionalism, where he says that society has needs. Society is made up of different parts. Each part is fulfilling certain needs of the society. As a whole, all the parts put together, they fulfill all the functions of the society. If you look at this diagram over here, society is made up of parts. Each part is functioning and fulfilling some specific need of the society. As a whole, when all the parts put together and function, they fulfill all the needs of the society. It's something like body, human body. Human body is made up of different parts, and each part has specific function, but they cannot function in isolation, or they're not in isolation. They're all related to each other, like the heart, kidney, liver, everything is working together in order to fulfill all the needs of the society. So this is how Radcliffe Brown says we need to analyze a society. We need to analyze a society and its structure. What is the structure? The parts of the society and how they are interacting with each other. And the parts of the society and its function is based on its status. The role and the status thus plays a very important role in the structure of the society. Okay, every part of the society has a status. Based on its status, it has a role that it is performing. So by analyzing this structure of the society and the parts in action, that is function, we will be able to truly understand the society. So that's why it's called as structural functionalism. We need to study the structure of the society and the functioning of the structure, that is parts. So that's why it's called as structural functionalism. Here, individuals are not important for Radcliffe Brown. It is the structure, the society as a whole. Society. So the individuals, even though they constitute the part of the society, they are not so important because the parts keep changing. Okay, see, for example, my human body is made up of parts, and these parts keep changing, meaning new cells are born, old cells die. Okay, so therefore, we are worried about the overall structure and not individual part. But to understand the overall structure, we need to study the parts. So something like that is what he tries to explain. Okay, so this basic concept is based on the analogy of organic study. Okay, like Herbert Spencer, etc., who applied this in sociology, was borrowed by Radcliffe Brown in a study of structural functionalism. So that is what Radcliffe Brown talks about. Some of this criticism again are similar to that of Malinowski. In addition to that, he is also criticized for using organic analogy, because organism has finite parts, whereas society has infinite parts. So within this model of functionalism, whether it is Radcliffe Brown or Malinowski, we cannot really understand social change and the concept of conflict within this. So those are the criticism. So how society changes, if it is functioning and it is surviving, how can it change? That could not be explained under functionalism. So like this, you need to understand certain key points of that you need to remember from the exam point of view. This is about functionalism from the concept point of view as well as the critical evaluation point of view. So this, I hope, was useful for you guys. In the next video, I will be talking about structuralism given by Lévi-Strauss. If anybody is writing mains this year, please do join my test series, where I will try to help you to improve your answers by incorporating these theoretical ideas, interlinking topics, other things. So the details of the test series is in the description. Do call, reach out to me, and try and get better marks in anthropology. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.